Everyone, PoloP13 here, and welcome to today's video. Today's video is a fun one. Unfortunately, it got delayed a couple of days because as I was about to record it, I started to lose my voice. As you can see, I still don't have my voice completely, so sorry if I make some sounds trying to get my voice strong enough. But don't have much of a voice, but I'm going to do my best to get this video out for you guys, and hopefully it's helpful. Today's video is another video request. It's outdated. It took a little too long to make, but I wanted to make sure that I got this out. So that's what it is. Today's video's request is about farming. What is the best and most important things to remember when farming? So I'm just going to give an overview of everything you need to know about farming and what the best tips and stuff for that is. And I really do hope this is a helpful video. So let's get into this. So for me, I'm going to break this down into two main aspects and talk about various categories of that. What I mean is I'm going to talk about all the different places you can be in the game, and then I'm going to talk about all the areas that you can farm from, and I'm going to go over my thoughts on those. So first off, we're going to start from the beginning and we're going to work our way up. What I mean by that is you just started this game. You don't have a big roster. You don't have much of a roster at all. What do you do for farming? Well, that is a very simple question. You do whatever you can. You need, like, if you have 5 characters, unlock as many characters as you can. So you go through the campaign. Let's take a looky at the campaign right now. Heroes campaign. You go to the first level of Heroes campaign. You're going to have Punisher there. You're going to have Yondu. Those are actually, Yondu's a great character to farm, but what you're going to want to do when you're early on is unlock any characters you can and build those up enough that you can actually make some progress in the game. That's go as far as you can and as you want to and as far as you need to be able to succeed. That's what you should really be doing from the campaign. Now get a few gear pieces here and there to get your character stronger and to farm up that way. Now when we leave that, the next place to farm will be the supply store, and your supplies will look very different than my supplies, of course, at this point in the game. But of course, at least meet the minimum requirement, but buy up some gear that'll help you out. But the trick is always to buy gear that's a little bit more powerful than what you necessarily need at the time. Like, for instance, this blue gear eventually becomes very, very important. So it's always helpful to have a little bit extra of specific types of gear. But just see what gear you're going to need and make sure you do buy it. I wouldn't recommend spending cores on anything in the supply store, but that's pretty much where it is. Blitz store, you're probably not going to have as many Blitz store Blitz credits at this point. But what you do have, I highly recommend putting it into Blitz Orbs. Use the 350 credits here and just unlock as many characters as you can, get as many shards as you can. It's really a great way to help you start out, and I think it's really just the best bang for your buck, especially in this situation. Raid store, if you're first starting out the game, you might not actually even be raiding. I have a lot of orbs to open. Now there's a lot of nice features, a lot of nice gear you can get. Once you do start raiding, Omnimore is nice. Some of the character shards are nice. But again, I really feel the best bet is the raid orbs. Gets you a lot of character shards, helps you unlock as many characters as possible. Arena, what should you do in Arena? Well, everyone has different opinions on which characters are the best. And you can pick characters that I would recommend just going to unlock as many characters as possible if you're at the beginning of the game. Remember, all of this advice is for beginners. It's not if you are very far that this is what you should do. But if you're just starting the game, pick out every character, farm them until you unlock them, and then work from there, because there really isn't a single character that it's bad to have unlocked. And I think that's a great way to start doing it. So that is beginners. Just go through and farm as much as you can, unlock as many characters as possible. It's really a great approach. Now, unfortunately, of course, gamma radiation's in the war store right after I buy something. Sorry, that was a little aside. But just so you guys know, I've been trying to get a lot of this specific gear for a long time, and I had saved up some war credits to ensure that if it ever did pop up in the store, I would be able to buy it. Spent the war credits an hour ago, and the war store refreshed, and it had the gear piece. But that's just life. Anyways, war store is not really an option until you get to a bit higher of a level, so no real need to discuss that. Next, what the next step you're going to want to go through is you've established a bit of a roster. What do you do next with each of the possible places? To help really establish this point and such, after I do my little discussion, I'm going to show you a couple of infographics made by a few other content creators, and it's really, really good work. So you should check out those content creators. I'll give them a shout out once I put the infographics up. But the infographics themselves are fantastic. I will probably take these couple of infographics and actually put them on my Discord server as well if you want to check out the infographics there. I believe there's only 3 infographics other than the ones I've made that'll be on that server after this video. And that's just because I'm going to only put the infographics that really come up in these videos in my server for now. But we'll see in the future. Anyways, after you kind of wide unlocked, the next step is to kind of establish your set team. For every one of the modes, sort of, that you're going to be doing, pick a focus and establish your team and any blitz teams you want to make and farm that up a little bit. So for a lot of people, that means getting the defenders. I'm not saying that is the best fit in every situation, but a lot of people find that a very good way to go as an early game player. What this means is I would farm shards for the defenders as much as possible. So what that means, going back to the Heroes campaign, you're going to have Punisher on the first bit, and I would start working on farming Punisher shards. Get him up to a good level. Then you're going to have basically just look for Punisher, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones, and try and farm them as much as possible. There's a Luke Cage over there. Wow, I really need to go back to the early campaign nodes and 3-star them, but I haven't bothered to do that. But anyways, I find that a very important part. Supplies really just keep building up, especially the blue gear, and if you can get any purple gear is very good. It's more important eventually and becomes a bit more of a threshold, but just buy up some gear from the supply store. Blitz store, I would still suggest going with the Blitz Orbs, but there is Luke Cage here in the Blitz store. So if you want to just focus farm Luke Cage and go defenders, that is an acceptable route, but to me the Blitz Orbs are always the better option. At this point, maybe your alliance is doing some alliance war, so you want to buy some more energy refreshes. You can buy that maybe once a refresh, but I still think most of the resources should be going towards the Blitz Orbs. Raid store, depends on what comes along. But I think it's really a good bet to really stick with the raid orbs that I was discussing earlier. Maybe War Store is finally an option for you, and I would suggest mainly getting the characters shards that are most helpful for you, and probably prepping for the future as much as you possibly can. And what does that mean? Well, that depends on what your end goal is. But one thing that's for sure, if you ever see a ×1 orange gear piece that is 1015 in your war store, buy it. I'm not sure if it pops up for everyone, but this is general advice. No matter what it is, always get those. And in the supply store here, you see anything gold that is worth 72,000, buy that. It is, don't spend those power cores right now, not the time. That was just a wrong button, but it is very helpful for the long run. But anyways, yeah, so I would say the next step is set your base teams. Those can be the defenders, the Kree is a very good place to start, shield minions, they're all very important. Which brings me really closely into my next phase, I would call it, And this is a little bit of a quicker concept. Focus on legendaries. What do I mean by that? Find all the legendary characters, pick which ones you want, make a plan, and farm the characters that are needed to get those characters up to 5 stars as fast as possible. So for instance, go to the Blitz store again. Gamora, it can be helpful for the Star-Lord one and Ravager Boomer. So if you're buying Blitz orbs, you're getting 2 characters that are needed to unlock Star-Lord. The Kree Royal Guard will be helpful to unlock Nick Fury. In the Raid store, it's going to really rotate, but Sabretooth is helpful to unlock Magneto. Arena store, you got Drax will help you unlock Star-Lord. Shield Security will help you unlock Iron Man. So you have a lot of options, but that is actually a really important step because these legendary characters really help you go further in the game. Star-Lord is the character that really turned my entire roster around. He helped me explode, like going so much faster than I was before. Nick Fury is that character for a lot of people. Shuri will be that character for a lot of people moving forward. Shuri's really good. But to best show these couple of last steps where I was talking about selecting your team and building that up and then being prepared for legendary events, I am actually going to show you a little bit of a graphic that was put together by, I believe, Valley Flyin'. And let me show you that. Okay, now this is what Valley Flyin' put together for this. If you don't know Valley Flyin', make sure you go check out his channel. I would be shocked if you found my channel and you haven't found his yet. But, you know, there's always that possibility. Valley Flyin' puts in a lot of good work for this game. But this is what he put together. These are his version of the phases. As you can see, he starts with the defenders, and he kind of just moves on until you can kind of build up a full roster. So this is an actual good guide for what he believes, and I agree on the most part. I don't agree with every detail. Like, for instance, I wouldn't buy individual characters from the Blitz store or the Raid store, and I probably wouldn't buy Daredevil first in the Arena store, but it does make sense if you're going for the defenders, so there's that. But this is a good little visual guide for that. Alright, so let's carry on to the next step. The next step that I have is to really find a good raid team, or raid teams. I think raid is, at this point, that you're starting to build up, you're starting to be ready for legendary characters. You should really make sure that you can raid really well, because when you start raiding well, you get a lot more ability materials coming your way, and you can grow your roster a lot faster. You can get stronger, and raids can get you into better alliances, and that really makes a big difference. You can start farming the raid store more. There's just a lot more that can happen and open up. You get a lot more gold, so highly, highly recommend. At this point, you should focus on a raid team or raid teams and build them up. Now, of course, if you've built up the defenders for Arena and Blitz, that is a good team to use in raids as well. But there are better teams, like the team, I believe it is now being coined as the BKT, Best Kree Team, which is Thanos, Rocket, Star-Lord, Minerva, and Groot. That team is very, very good in raids. The Fury Shield team is very, very good in raids. The Wakandan team is very, very good in raids. So there are a lot of options, but I would really recommend at this point building up on a raid focus so that you can help grow the rest of your roster. Of course, Arena is still important and Blitz is still important, but I think that's actually a good aspect to get to, like a good point to get to, and it really helps you build up from there. Then we reach the next stage, which is you're raiding well, you have the legendaries, you kind of have a big roster, it's not full. Now it's kind of, when you go through the campaign nodes, what you're farming, let's just look at roster for here, is going to be a blend of character farming and gear farming just to keep you growing. Don't go too gear heavy because then your characters will all be too low stars. Don't go too character heavy because you won't have any gear to rank up your characters. It's kind of a balance of really just growing everything as much as you can, and it's a bit of a race against time because there's always going to be new characters, but it's just best to keep farming as much as you can in the different aspects. blitz as much as you can. That's a good place to help, but really kind of just try and balance that. And you really start growing out your roster after you're being raid heavy. And what this gets to is you should look to build towards a good Alliance War roster. That means having a deep roster. So finding extra teams, extra characters that you can build up to make other good teams becomes very important at this point. As many teams as you can build that can be usable, the more that you can do that, the better. So I think the next step is definitely that. And now at this point, what I talked about with the orange gear, I think it becomes even more important making sure that with the supply section, you buy anything that pops up at 72,000. It will really make your life easier and get you a major jump start. At this point, you can start worrying about the Dark Dimension, build up a few characters to 6-star, and just give it a shot. Keep working at it until you take it down. Blitz Store, I still say Blitz Orbs, but also the War Energy refills and some defensive boosts are nice. So I'd say a blend between Blitz Orbs and those. Arena Store depends on what you're going for, but for me, I kind of got all the characters to 6-star, or at least most of the characters to 6-star, and then I just kind of let the orbs take it from there, and then slowly bring them to 7-star as I feel like it. For instance, that whole top row is 7 stars. The whole middle row should be 6. Drax is almost 7. And then the War Store, like I said earlier, same things genuinely still apply. So now another quick graphic I'm going to show you from another content creator. This one is by Tana. To me, this is one of the most thorough, well put together graphics I have seen. It's not going to be perfectly updated at all times, and I believe there's been a few minor changes, but this can be huge. It shows you all of the play characters in the game and where you can farm them, and I think that is very helpful. So I would take a look at this graphic for when you're trying to farm out your characters and make a good plan. Again, I'll put this on my Discord, but go check out Tana and his channel. Very good channel. And this is an amazing and very helpful graphic. The one change I would say is Venom is now taken over Yondu's Nexus node, so you can now farm Venom in a campaign node as well, which does help you with the legendary event for Shuri. But yes, so this is a great graphic. So once you reach this point, you are pretty far ahead in the game. You have strong roster. Now, it's really great if you can get every single character in the roster to 5 stars, because this means no matter what legendary character comes out, you're already ready for it. But now the point of this is get your characters up to gear tier 13, get the ones that you want maxed out, be ready to go, and from there, you're just really maintaining and looking forward always, because if you just set on your roster and you just build that up without any thought about what's going to happen next, you're going to fall behind, because characters in this game come out fast, and there's a lot of characters that are coming out right now, for instance. So I could put a lot of effort in building up my AIM team to help me a little bit more in war, but I decided to not focus on them as much and spend some of that effort on building up some of these characters towards gear tier 13, because any day now I will have my first gear tier 13 character, and it will be Captain Marvel. Just need some of these superior gear items. But I have the uniques. This is the first character I got all the uniques. Randomly I got a lot of adamantium, so that is a great start. But anyways, you get some characters to gear tier 13, and that can get you Ultron. But then I've also kind of casually working on my Falcon and my Rescue at this point, building up my shield team because I know Coulson is coming and I want to be ready for Coulson. But just being a little bit prepared for what's coming ahead and building up with that as well as you can. So my Falcon is slowly growing, my Rescue is slowly growing. So you can, but I'm also looking forward to what's coming, because I know, for instance, the next character coming to the game is Psylocke. So for Psylocke, the gear that you're going to be using is going to be mostly this mutant gear. So I just picked Cable. So I'm going to need some more of these advanced unstable molecules. So I'm going to pick up some of those. I just look at other mutants in the game, see what they need. I'm pretty good on the advanced mutant gear. Maybe could use a few more of these, so I'll probably farm some of those. So then when Psylocke comes to the game, I will have a chance to build her up pretty well. perhaps save up some ability materials, but right now I need the ability materials elsewhere. But point being, just keep an eye on the future and keep building up and keep stocking up and build your characters up to 6 stars so you can take down the Dark Dimension. Try and be ready for any legendary events coming forward. And of course, try and get some characters to Gear Tier 13, which, as you can see, I am getting pretty close with a few of my characters. We got Captain Marvel, as I've already shown. For anyone interested, I got Loki here. He is one Superior Uru away from becoming Gear Tier 13. So it's a race between Captain Marvel and Loki for the honored first Gear Tier 13 characters. Thanos, again, he's a little bit off with Palladium. Star-Lord, Carbonadium, whatever, that thing. The block of gray hunk stuff. Then again, Palladium with Rocket, so I'll go with probably Rocket over Thanos in this situation. I'm pretty close on... Actually, I'm not close, but I have enough, almost enough Superior Unique for either Groot or Carnage, and I believe I've decided to go Groot, so I'm going to have to start building up my Groot gear to get him from 8 to 13. But that will take some time. So just keep an eye on the future, build up, try and get a team into the Fear of the Darkness, because once you take that, you get Ultron, and Ultron basically right now is the end game, other than having a fully maxed everyone, but that is the path from starting this game all the way to finish, what to farm, how to farm, and what to really be doing. I really hope this was helpful for you guys, and this made sense. I know this wasn't very, very specific, like farm this character, but I think if you just go way too stock, like everyone do this, everyone do that, you take out a lot of fun in this game, and that's not really the point of it. So I like to make room for a little bit of personality and preferences. Like, if you really like a character, feel free to build them up, even if it's not the most reasonable. People should not be upset with what you do with your roster. Have fun. You might notice someone, I don't know, maybe my 7th strongest character, that probably shouldn't be there. But I love Winter Soldier, so my Winter Soldier is about 40,000 power. He hits hard, and I like using him. Is he the best? No. Do I like him? Yes. So sometimes that'll overrule things. Maybe you'd rather get Nick Fury early on than Star-Lord. I preferred to get Star-Lord first. Maybe you really, really like Iron Man and you want to get him as soon as possible. That's great. You should do that. Have some personality in your decisions. You don't have to do the same teams as everyone else. You don't have to do the same things. You don't have to have the same plan. But I hope this guide, my overview, is helpful in helping you come up with a plan and seeing what you should really be aiming for. Anyways, I do hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think down in the comments or in my Discord, where you can find the link to that in the video description, next to a few other links. Anyways, again, hope this helped. Hope you enjoyed it. And as always, I'm here to help.